Hello everyone, it's Retro Jojo back again for another video. In this video I thought that I would talk about things from our childhood, things from the past, a blast from the past. Maybe reminisce a little bit about some things and we'll go from there. So one of the things that really formed or shaped my childhood was video games. Video games were huge, that and movies as well, but a lot of it primarily revolved around gaming. I wasn't a big, if at all, board game type person or D&D or Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh or anything. I didn't play some card games and uh, role-playing games or things like that until later in life. A lot of people grew up with it. I have a friend that's more his speed than it is um, maybe playing video games or something like that. But I grew up playing video games a lot, and I played outside and things like that as well. But uh, primarily played, video games we had a den at one of the homes that I grew up in for a long period of time, and it was a huge den, and I had plenty of room to play my N64, and then I eventually got a PS2. I had a GameCube, and I just continued to upgrade. So in that, you know, my childhood was a lot of fun. And I also went to a local sports park where they had arcade games like Gauntlet Legends, Carnival, which I wasn't supposed to play Carnival, Soul Calibur 2, I believe it was. What else was there? NFL Blitz on the arcade. Jurassic Park, Lost World Jurassic Park, the arcade game, the Area 51 game, the arcade one. A lot of fun things that I remember fondly playing with my dad, except for Carnival. And there was a lot of other things there as well, like batting cages and things like that. So that was a lot of fun, going there with my dad and getting to spend time with him when he had time. He was a very busy man. But you do what you have to do, you know what I mean? We all do, I believe, no matter whether you do have a degree or don't have a degree. Everybody has to work. That's a fact. Just the way it is. But a lot of the things that shaped my childhood, I didn't really read a lot of comics, come to think of it. But I do remember the 90s. I remember the late 90s. I don't know if anybody remembers the outfits, I had like a Rex outfit with the camo pants. I feel like nowadays we kind of match things, and like maybe that's where I kind of shaped my style as well. Like I like for things to match. If I'm gonna wear something, I want it to match, and some people that doesn't bother them. If it doesn't match or it does match or what have you, but it does bother me if it doesn't look right or if it's off or something like that. But I also got into Star Wars at a very, very, very young age. I was about 3 when I seen A New Hope, which was originally, of course, Star Wars, just Star Wars, because, at that point, 77, there was not really anything else. And now look what it is today. It's like an institution. But I watched A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi with my brother. That was another fond memory. I remember watching those movies and just being mesmerized by Boba Fett and Darth Vader and Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie. And the whole cast, 3PO, everybody knows all these characters. If you like Star Wars, you do at least, I should say. R2D2, things like that. And it what's the word I'm looking for? It enthralled me, or or that's not the right word, maybe. It I think mesmerize is a good word for that. Or captivated. There we go. It captivated me. I knew the word would come to me eventually. um, it captivated me. It was like going to another world. It was like being transported. Same thing with Lord of the Rings. And I seen Lord of the Rings, and I was very interested. My cousin had like the definitive editions, like the extended versions, and I remember he had just rolled out like this big long thing, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And yeah, Lord of the Rings is another one that I could just watch over and over and over. And it's those kind of things, the sci-fi, the fantasy, the medieval stuff, that I really get into and get a part of, or feel like I'm in a different place, or in a different time period, a different world, things like that. And also, through some of these things and these chains of events through the years, watching new things and seeing new things and playing new games, because I couldn't play a lot of your M-rated stuff until I was quite older. So I really didn't grow up. A lot of my friends, even some family members grew up. They played GTA and things like that. I didn't until later. Nobody told me about San Andreas and Vice City. I was a little sheltered. Went to private school, you know, and I was bullied a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I was, and it wasn't fun. But we grow through what we go through, so it's in the past. Everybody grows up, everybody matures. We all have our role to play in life, and we all have likes and dislikes in life. And I'm one of those people that, now, when I was younger, I could be really like, what's the word? I could be really rude when it came to, if you didn't fit into my criteria. Um, there's other people that had their own style or things of that nature, and I had my own. And I thought that, in that I couldn't really associate with them, or they didn't want anything to do with me. And some of them showed me that they might not have really wanted anything to do with me. But that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, because I met other friends, and it shaped me into, who I am now. And, you know, for example, I don't mind going fishing with one friend and going to see something totally, nerdy, and or whatever you want to call it. Um, you know, I don't mind it, because you're connecting with someone that you may not connect with unless you get into their world. And that's something I've learned over the years. But even so, you should still be yourself. Don't ever, nobody should ever feel like they can't be themselves, or they can't do the things that they like, or like the things that they like, or be who they want to be, etc. You should. It's a choice. You choose how you want to be, who you want to be, and that's that. I still remember the first time I seen um, a horror movie as well. I seen Friday the 13th for the first time at 13 years old, and it was that was ironic, but it was honestly one of the craziest things I'd ever seen. Yeah, it was cheesy. It was the original, but that's what made it, fun. And it was like it was something I wasn't supposed to have, or something. I wasn't. Of course, my parents watched it with me to see if they approved of which we finished the movie because we're almost done with it. And if you know, you know about the movie. And there's one particular scene that, you know, threw them for a loop, but um, I knew it was a horror movie, so it's probably going to have something like that. I didn't know it was actually in there, but anyways, um, it was just one of those experiences where you see something and you're like, whoa, and it's all new and, you know, fresh. So then I got into B movies later when teenage years and young adult. But growing up was awesome. I mean, I had good friends. I had some friends that were my friends sometimes, and then, you know, and that's okay. You know, you get along with, as long as I got along with everyone, I thought that I was okay. You know, not everybody's gonna like you, not everybody's gonna love you to death. Um, but I at least wanted to keep peace with people. You know, don't go to bed with your anger and don't harbor it up. Things like that. You know, it's not good for you. And I'm speaking to myself even there, because I still try to do it, or I try to hold everything in, and that's not good either. But even so, I feel like there is just so much, you know, that I look back and I think, man, that was, you know, crazy. Um, or this thing that we used to do, that's really random and weird, you know, like, remember those bands with the animal, um, they turn into animals, like when you put them around your wrist, they were like a band, but then when you took them off, they kind of rolled up into a shape of an animal or something like that, like a dog or cat or whatever. And I just thought that was crazy that we used to wear those, like, you know, emo style, like half of your wrist, about that much of your wrist was like covered in these bands. And it was just crazy, you know? And when I think back on some of the memories, like going to the arcade with my dad and hanging out with my brother or getting to do things, it reminds me that there's a lot that people take for granted, and there's a lot that we don't fully see how great it was. You know, things don't feel quite right since, um, you know, the virus that happened, and then we had near my area we had a hurricane. Thank goodness everybody's okay. I'm glad everyone's okay. Um, One of my friends did unfortunately lose his home, but he's rebuilding, so that's great, you know. And you know, you look at all the things that we did and all the things that we had, you know, like it was just a different time, you know. Wendy's with the yellow wrapping, and yellow, like the fry holders and things like that, and the yellow cups, and they had the Biggie cup, and it was just a different time. You know, I look back, sometimes I think about it, and I think, man, if it was like this again, you know, and then I look at it from an adult standpoint, if the economy was a little bit better the way it was then, we'd probably, you know, wouldn't be as in the same position that most people are in right now. And I'm not going to get into political stuff or anything like that. Um, to each their own on politics. I keep that to myself. To each their own on spirituality and or religion, as you know, some might say. It's just, you know, I keep that off of the channel. I just want to talk about life, you know, and video games, of course. I'm just doing this video as a random thing. I'm just talking to you guys. I'm just kind of, you know, taking it easy, taking a break from the games because I haven't really been able to play a game for a long period of time. But I figured I would do a video and, you know, trying to keep it upbeat, you know, and just do something random. So I'm trying something different here. But I just thought that, you know, I was the coolest thing too, you know, when I was a teenager. I had the, you know, skinny jeans with the zippers all over them, and I still have them. Then they still fit. but I don't really wear skinny jeans like that anymore. But it's one of those things that I didn't really grow out of it because obviously I started getting tattoos all over me. Um, I started and I couldn't stop, and I keep coming up with more ideas to get, and it's just one of those things. It's addicting, and since I'm sober now, I haven't touched alcohol in a while, a long time, a good amount of time, or a good amount of time, I should say, and don't plan to. And that's my personal preference. That's my choice. But it's just the best thing for me. And but I kind of got into tattoos, more so even after, especially after that. That's like my new, thing that I have kind of grabbed onto. And I love getting nerdy stuff, and I love getting spiritual stuff. That means something to me. I have quite a few that are all different styles on different places, and it's just fun, And my artist is awesome. Shout out to Lee with his crazy self. I love that guy. Just great dude. Um, but yeah, man, it's all about you know enjoying the moment because like I still remember going to the mall back then, and they had the old like I keep saying like a lot. I'm sorry. They had the old signs like in the Chick-fil-A and different things like that. And now everything seems so, when I think about and compare the two, everything seems so just kind of drag or drudging through or kind of dull or, they modernize everything to heck and back. And it's like everything just looks the same. Everything looks like a modern motel, your McDonald's, things like that. They all look the same. They all look modern. They all look normal. And it was like back then, and we had snacks that are discontinued now too, and we had yeah, they probably had chemicals that were probably not good for us, and that's why they're discontinued and banned in other countries. But yeah, I mean, it was just a different time, and I feel like a lot of, and I'm not getting off on a tirade or anything, but I feel like a lot of that's been lost is due to the fact that cell phones, really took over. Before then, you didn't watch a movie on a little tiny screen about this big. You watched a movie with your family. You watched a movie with your friends. If you wanted to play a video game, you went to your friend's house. You didn't get on your phone and charge it and sit there in the bed with the charger heating up your leg and radiating your leg, making radiation. Just radiate. You start glowing green, and when you go to sleep, it wasn't like that. You know, it wasn't like a chemical world. Where because it's not good for us to use them that much, but we do. And I really want to get back myself to connecting with myself and connecting with my family and not letting just it be working a phone. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do that. You cannot do that. That's not right. Um, and I've got a few people in my life and people that I work with that I know that do it. They just shut off. Some of them, I'm not even gonna go there, even because I don't want to say nothing negative about anyone because you can't do it yourself and pot calling the kettle black. Check it real quick, and then somebody else stays on it and you're calling them out. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. I'm all about it, being equal with people and being level. Um, so you know, it is what it is, and I think we could get back to it though if we had a couple of people that just wanted to see a change, with the culture and the just being fun, just having fun again. I mean, where did all the fun go? Where did all the love for people, one another go? Everybody hates everybody nowadays. Everybody wants to be the same as everybody else nowadays. You know, it's okay to be called out and to be different and to stand out from the crowd. That's okay. Um, and for some people, it's in a negative way. For me, it's in a positive way. But I do. I mean, I'm just rambling now, but I do remember quite a few things though that I would like to kind of, maybe talk about for just a sec or a second. I just said sec, like I'm a little schoolgirl. I said it like I'm a, just woohoo. So, but they're go Tigers. So little Stranger Things um shout out there. Didn't even do that on purpose. Just thought about it. Their team is anyway. But there are quite a few things that I really loved growing up, and that was, of course, movies. That I love so much still to this day. Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and the Hobbit came out later, but it was connected to Lord of the Rings, so we'll kind of put it together. And I even love shows and anime and stuff like Stranger Things and things of that nature. Um, Naruto, Bleach, all these shows, One Piece, things that I grew up with, and even now with shows like I said, Stranger Things and Demon Slayer that are coming out now. They're not just ported straight over, but they're coming out on, well, Demon Slayer didn't come out on there, but on Netflix, I was going to say, but um, and Disney movies. I grew up watching Disney movies. That iconic logo. It's just like I said, it was a different time. You had to be there to experience the '90s. The new metal was just taking over. It was a new metal revolution. Trip pants, um, things like that. That I seen it, but I didn't really fully appreciate it. And it's like now I'm stuck in the '90s kind of style wise. Even late '80s. I love stuff like that. Early '90s. Like and even early '80s. I mean, I like styles from different older eras. I don't really implement stuff from the '50s in my personal closet or things that I'm gonna wear. But yeah, '80s and '90s. I prefer it way more over and early 2000s, way more over later 2000s up until now. There's so many cool things that came out then. Whether it be fashion or music or popular culture, and you look back now and you think, wow, that was really cool. We had a lot going on, and then you look forward and you flash forward and you think those things still exist though, and I could still do those things and buy those things and go back and kind of relive it if I wanted to, and have hobbies that involve things from those time periods. Yeah, it's all doable now with our technology. It's all doable. uh, but I remember playing Yoshi with my mom, my sweet mom, my sweet mother. I remember playing Yoshi and with my mom, and then playing, or Yoshi's Story, I should say, and playing Pac-Man and Galaga on the Wii from the Wii Virtual Console with my dad. Wow, that takes you back. That takes me back a couple years, and just things like that, man. And people coming over and playing games with you, actually sitting down, plugging in 4 controllers or 3 or 2, however many, more than one, more than uno, and actually playing it together, not just online. The interaction was there. Get some frozen pizza or some Little Caesars for like $5. Everybody was good. You good. You're good. You good. You're good. Everybody good. Everybody's good. So it was just a different time, and even the foods were different. You know, there was things coming out that everybody was like, "Whoa, this is revolutionary." You know, oh, the ketchup. Anybody remember that? The ketchup, the easy squirts, and it come with like either purple, red, or green. I think it was, and I think there was an orange one. Maybe I could be wrong. That come out later, or maybe it was a different color. I don't remember. I think there was a yellow too. Maybe I can't remember all the colors. There may have only been the three that I mentioned to start with. But anyhow, um, yeah. And remember the Burger King and like McDonald's and things like that? They had gaming kiosk. Your dentist office. I remember my dentist office that I went to when I was a kid. Um, they had an N64 kiosk, and I used to play Banjo Kazooie while I waited for them to call me back. They don't do that no more because kids have phones and tablets and things like that. They don't want to sit there and play a game that's, from 96 or 98 or what have you. They don't want to do that. They want to play something with stunning graphics and, all this. And maybe that's me. Maybe I'm just stuck. But I just remember things like that, and I think back and I think, wow. So with that being said, guys, I think I'm going to end this off here. We'll see how this goes. We may do another one where we talk about each thing individually. I'll kind of list it out, and we'll do things a little more organized. This was more of a, hey, how's everybody doing kind of video, not necessarily a extensive list, of going through each thing individually for videos. I will be trying to do that once a week, though, and talk about things that we like and things that shaped us and things that made us and things that are us, who we are, or maybe not who we are, but it shaped us into who we are. There's a better way to put it. So with that being said, everyone, I hope everyone stays safe, and this is Retro Jojo, over and out.